still, after all the fights you've had, in awe of the fact that you do what you do. It's
The entire combat sports world woke up stunned, because this wasn't just another influencer boxing headline. This time, something felt different. Jake Paul, the 28-year-old social media phenomenon who spent years forcing the boxing world to take him seriously, may have just reached the moment that changes everything. After stepping into the ring with former heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua, what happened next didn't just end a fight, it may have ended a career. When the bout was announced, plenty of people laughed it off. Others called it reckless. A few insiders quietly warned that this matchup was playing with fire. And now, looking back, those warnings feel almost eerie. Because once the bell rang, it became clear that Jake Paul wasn't sharing the ring with a novelty opponent anymore. He was standing across from a fully seasoned heavyweight with years of championship-level power behind every punch. For a brief moment, Paul didn't look overwhelmed. In fact, according to the scorecards, he even picked up a couple of rounds early on. That detail matters more than people realize, because it shows he wasn't instantly outclassed. He was competing, he was moving, surviving, throwing back. But surviving in a heavyweight ring only works until it doesn't. Then came the shot. In the 6th round, Anthony Joshua landed a right hand so clean and so violent that it instantly changed the energy in the arena. The punch didn't just knock Paul down, it shut everything off. He collapsed to the canvas, and the fight was over before most people could even process what they'd just seen. What followed wasn't celebration or trash talk. It was silence and concern, because almost immediately, something was clearly wrong. Paul left the ring with severe facial trauma, and not long after, reports began circulating that his jaw had been broken in 2 places. A double fracture. Doctors reportedly had no choice but to operate right away, using titanium plates and multiple screws to hold his jaw together. Some reports even claimed teeth had to be removed during surgery. Suddenly, this wasn't about wins or losses anymore. This was about long-term damage. Clips started circulating online of Paul struggling to speak, his face swollen, explaining that his jaw felt like it had a baseball inside it. Plates, screws, metal holding his face together. And as those images spread, so did something else: rumors that Jake Paul might be done with boxing for good. According to multiple reports from people close to the situation, Paul has been physically exhausted and mentally drained for a while now. Fighting at this level isn't just hard, it's brutal. Training camps are relentless. Sparring with heavyweight fighters carries real risk every single day. And when you add a devastating knockout and major surgery to the equation, it forces conversations most fighters try to avoid. There's even audio circulating where Paul appears to say he's retiring from boxing. Whether that clip was serious, emotional, or taken out of context is still unclear. But it poured gasoline on an already raging fire. Fans began asking the same question all at once. Was this the moment Jake Paul finally realized the cost was too high? Promoter Eddie Hearn didn't help calm the speculation. Before the fight, he had publicly said that this matchup could end Paul's boxing career. Afterward, his tone shifted. There was no gloating, no victory lap, just concern. Hearn openly explained that injuries like a double jaw fracture aren't just painful. The recovery time alone keeps fighters out of sparring for months. Timing fades, confidence erodes, and worst of all, the fear never fully goes away. Once you've felt your jaw break from a single punch, every shot after that carries a mental weight. Fighters hesitate, reactions slow by fractions of a second. And in boxing, that's enough to get seriously hurt. Joe Rogan echoed that concern even more bluntly. Speaking from decades of watching fighters destroy their bodies, Rogan warned that heavyweight power is different. One punch at that level isn't just one punch, it's the equivalent of several shots landing at once. And the damage doesn't stop when the swelling goes down. Neurological trauma adds up quietly, years before symptoms appear. Rogan didn't criticize Paul. He didn't mock him. He simply said what many fighters refuse to say out loud. If you have other paths in life, other ways to succeed, repeatedly absorbing that kind of punishment may not be worth it. And that's where things get complicated. Because Jake Paul isn't just a boxer. He's a brand, a promoter, a businessman, a personality who turned controversy into an empire. Walking away from boxing wouldn't mean failure, it might mean survival.
Is different than the 10-ounce gloves, so I was feeling his power.
But for someone built on proving doubters wrong, quitting is rarely that simple. At the same time, another layer of controversy resurfaced almost immediately. Online chatter reignited long-standing speculation about performance enhancement. Some critics pointed to changes in Paul's physique over the years, claiming he looked dramatically different in a short period of time. Others referenced acne, recovery speed, and physical development as evidence. To be clear, none of this has been proven. No failed tests, no official violations. Still, reports claim Paul himself made comments suggesting he might intentionally use enhancements just to prove a point, that people would finally see the difference. Critics called the idea reckless. Supporters said it sounded like classic Paul provocation. Either way, no official statement has confirmed any of it, and until Paul directly addresses it on the record, it remains speculation fueled by the internet's obsession with controversy. What can't be debated is what happened inside that ring. This fight wasn't scripted, it wasn't staged, and it wasn't fake. Eddie Hearn shut those claims down immediately, pointing to the medical reality of Paul's injuries. No one breaks their jaw in two places, undergoes surgery, and loses teeth just to sell a narrative. With regulators, officials, and global betting markets involved, the idea of this being fixed collapses under basic logic. Two fighters stepped into a sanctioned heavyweight bout. One landed a perfect shot, the other paid the price. Now the boxing world waits. Will Jake Paul return after months of recovery, metal plates still holding his jaw together, knowing the next punch could land even harder? Or will this be remembered as the night the experiment finally hit its limit? Because sometimes, the most dangerous part of chasing legitimacy isn't losing, it's realizing how much it costs to keep going. And whatever Jake Paul decides next, one thing is already clear. This wasn't just another fight. This was a crossroads.